Welcome back to the Truth Revealed. Today, we're going to talk about toxins in your food, how you're being poisoned without you even knowing it. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. Or more so, we're going to talk about not just toxic foods, but toxic ingredients in your food. You're being poisoned and you don't even realize it. There's a lot of chemicals in the foods these days, and you're ingesting those, and your body is either metabolizing it and causing toxicity within your body, or it's not metabolizing it and it's causing toxicity to your body. There's hardly anything you can buy in a store today that is not toxic or does not have toxic ingredients in it. The grocery stores are usually referred to as the outer edges of the store as food, and the aisles, the poison. I mean, think about this. Have you ever gone into a grocery store and they have a health food section? What does that say about the rest of the food that they sell in that store? Even the meat section, you're probably buying fake lab-grown meat. They're not required to tell you that. There's many stories of chicken and even your fresh fruits and vegetables, your watermelons and bananas, you name it, that are all fake. You don't know it. They don't have to tell you. Now, we may get into some of that in this video and some later on in a different video. But since I do a lot of cooking, I want to make sure I feed my family as healthy as possible, as I'm sure you do too as well. So what I'd like to do is give you a few little guidelines on what to look for in your food. When you're out shopping, make sure you flip that box around or that package upside down or what have you, and you get that ingredients list and you read through that ingredients list. They're slipping trash by you and all kinds of poisons. Now, let's start getting into some of the stuff that you are ingesting and you don't even know it. Now, this label you are looking at right here, if you see what I have highlighted, it says contains a bioengineered food ingredient. Most people's brains will focus on the word food, then think, oh, it is food. No. Bioengineered ingredient. Remove the word food. Bioengineered means it is created by man in a lab, and it is highly carcinogenic. Carcinogenic means toxic, cancer-causing chemicals. If you see that on any label, put it back on the shelf and do not purchase that. If you find anything in your cupboards with that on it, give it away to somebody else. Do not ingest it. Now, that is usually listed at the bottom of the ingredients list. Now, sometimes I have found it farther down in much smaller print in an effort to hide that. Now, I have noticed that on a lot of foods these days. Pretty much the majority of foods these days. Now, if you'll look above where I have bioengineered food ingredients highlighted, you'll see contains milk, wheat, and soy. Well, now, if you're drinking milk, you should be drinking raw milk from a farm. You should not be drinking milk that you purchase from the coolers at the store. The milk you find in the coolers at the store contains a lot of pus, blood, and antibiotics. So when you're ingesting that, you are ingesting a lot of garbage, a lot of toxic stuff that's going into your body. Now that's just the milk. Wheat. These days, a lot of the wheat is grown from genetically modified seeds, which means it is genetically modified, which means it's bioengineered. And wheat contains a lot of estrogen. So, welcome to your man boobs, because wheat is loaded with estrogen. Soy. Soy is loaded with estrogen. Welcome to your man boobs again. Stay away from soy, especially if you're male. Stay away from soy and wheat. Soy itself, if grown completely 100% organically, is okay for you in small amounts. But the amounts that they put in here, and it's not being organically grown, it is bioengineered, chemically altered soy, which means it is very, very bad for you. So when you see soy and wheat on a label, you should put it back. And I promise you, 90% of everything you see in the grocery store, flip it around and read the label of the ingredients. You will see wheat and soy. Why do they put that in there? Feminize men, lower testosterone levels, and cause depopulation of the planet. So stay away from milk, wheat, and soy ingredients. Now let's take a look at this label. It says ingredients: assorted chicken pieces, breasts with back portions, thighs with back portions, and drumsticks. Water, bleached wheat flour, less than 2% of the following: modified cornstarch, salt, isolated soy protein with less than 2% lectin spices, 2% lectin spices, including celery seed. Now, I can't pronounce all this stuff. That's another tip. If you can't pronounce it, put it back. Wheat gluten, disodium inosinate, I guess, and disodium guanylate, sodium phosphates, flavorings, leavening, sodium acid phosphate, sodium bicarbonate, spice extractives of paprika, and of course contains soy and wheat. Now, just my reading that sounds like a chemistry lab to me. Let's dig into this one a little bit. So let's dive into these ingredients. Okay, first off, the assorted chicken pieces, breast with back portions, thighs with back portions, and drumsticks. That pretty much means the leftover junk that they can't sell in the store. So, with that being said, move on along. Water. Well, what is in that water? There's fluoride usually in the water. Fluoride is a highly toxic chemical. Bleached wheat flour. And then wheat flour. What's the difference? Bleached means treated with chemicals, deadly chemicals. Modified cornstarch is the next one I have underlined there. Modified. How is it modified? Chemically modified. Anything done with chemicals means something came from a lab and is not natural and not normal. Cornstarch. Almost all the corn today is genetically modified corn, which means it is cancer causing, carcinogenic substance. So modified on top of that. Now, salt in itself does not sound bad. Some people say salt, it is bad for you. It causes high blood pressure. You should reduce salt in your diet. Wrong. Salt is essential to the body. Not the salt they use. The salt they use is altered and bleached and run through chemicals, and I could do a whole series on how they produce salt now. and how they make it white like it is. Salt is not white like that. The normal, good salt is not. Some salt is. Don't get me wrong. But the salt they use is terrible. That salt that they use, yes, will cause high blood pressure. But if you use real salt, like Celtic, or as people call it, Celtic real salt, or I like to use Redmond's real salt, I have not heard anything bad about it yet, the Redmond's real salt. So I highly recommend it so far because it has tons of trace minerals in it and it's untouched. It's pulled directly out and mined and then processed into the containers. Now you'll hear a lot about pink Himalayan sea salt. That stuff contains high amounts of heavy metals. Heavy metals are deadly to the brain and highly detrimental to the brain. Let's put it that way. And once your brain goes awry, what controls your entire body and the systems in your body? Other than your medulla oblongata, which controls your breathing and your unconscious body aspects, such as your heartbeat and things of that nature. You don't have to think about that, but it happens in your body. But salt is essential to your kidney functions. If you reduce the salt in your diet and actually even eliminate salt, your kidneys are starving for salt, which means your body will retain water. Once your body starts retaining water, your organs have issues. This is where different diseases can start coming in. Okay, now I am not a doctor. I don't play one on TV, and I don't play one on YouTube. I'm just telling you my research. Look into it. Your kidneys need salt. I use a lot of salt. I salt everything like crazy. And I get physicals every 2 years because I have a CDL. And my blood pressure is perfect. Always has been. Don't believe them when they say salt causes high blood pressure. They tell you cut fat and cholesterol out of your diet. Well, your brain is 98% fat and cholesterol. Your liver produces cholesterol on purpose. Okay? It's an antioxidant within your body. They're trying to make you sick and keep you sick. A healthy population does not make money for the pharmaceutical industry or the hospitals. Hospitals are a business. They've got to fill those beds to make money. And if you're healthy, the beds aren't filled, they are not making money, and the doctors will not get a kickback on selling the drugs to you to cause your body, the symptoms of what you have to go away, but cause some other part of your body to be poisoned, which will require you to get more of their drugs later down the road, and keep on doing that. And the cycle continues and continues and continues while they make bank, and you slowly live a toxic life in pain and dying. So, salt, got off track there a little bit. Salt is essential to the body. Then they've got the soy protein. Right there again, you see soy in the ingredient. Stay away from it. We mentioned that. No need to go deeper into it. The word spices. Let me tell you what spices means. Doesn't mean what you think it means. Spices does not mean Italian herbs and a little bit of oregano. That's not what spices means. Spices means man-made chemicals. That's what spices means. Including celery seed. The reason why they say including celery seed is because that's the only spice that is natural. Why would they have to put that in there if they already said spices? Is that not a spice? They're telling you spices are not spices. They're poisons. Wheat gluten. Once again, there's your wheat. There's more of your estrogen right there. So you see the wheat and you see the soy. Estrogen. Enjoy those man boobs and low testosterone levels. Disodium inosinate. Let's take a look at disodium inosinate. Now, let me ask you, Does this look healthy? Well, a lot of natural stuff will look similar in chemical breakdowns, but not nothing grows with that name naturally. This is man-made, artificial. Let's get into see what is the sodium inosifate. What is that? Disodium inosonate is used as a flavor enhancer in synergy with monosodium glutamate, MSG, to provide the umami taste. It is often added to foods in conjunction with disodium guanylate. The combination is known as disodium 5 ribonucleotides. Well, now it's said is usually used in synergy with monosodium glutamate, MSG. What is MSG and is it good for you? Well, let's take a look. In many countries, MSG goes by the name, quote, China salt, end quote. Besides its flavor enhancing effects, MSG has been associated with various forms of toxicity. MSG has been linked with obesity, metabolic disorders, Chinese restaurant syndrome, neurotoxic effects, and detrimental effects on the reproductive organs. Yum, yum, yum. Good stuff. Let's eat it up. Disodium inosonate, E63212, is the disodium salt of inosonic acid with the chemical formula C10H11N4Na2O8P. It is used as a food additive and often found in instant noodles, potato chips, and a variety of other snacks. Now remember, earlier it did say that disodium inosonate is commonly used in conjunction with disodium guanylate, okay, and is related to the same thing as MSG. So let's see what that means. Disodium guanylate, people with an MSG sensitivity, gout, or history of kidney stones should avoid it. Now, let me tell you something, guys and gals. And yes, there's only guys and gals. All the rest of you, you don't exist. But anyway, let me tell you something. If any group of people with any types of sensitivity should avoid some kind of a chemical put in the food, I highly recommend that everybody who eats food should stay away from it. Rule of thumb: if it's toxic to some, it's toxic to all. Now that we covered the disodium inosonate and disodium uh, guanylate, let's move on to sodium phosphates, shall we? Sodium phosphate should be avoided by certain people, including those with kidney disease. And like I'd mentioned earlier, my friends, if any group of people or individuals should avoid a certain chemical added to natural foods, I highly recommend that you do as well. And remember, that kidney disease, that was probably caused by someone who cut salt out of their diet. Gee, isn't it funny how this all comes together and works for the pharmaceutical industry? Let us continue on with our little basic analysis here. Next on the list is flavorings. What do you think that means, guys? Chemicals, chemicals, chemicals. They're not squeezing an orange in there. They're not juicing a banana in there. They're not doing that. Flavorings mean they put some kind of chemical together that'll taste a certain way and is toxic to your body. That's what flavorings mean. Okay? Then you move on down to where it says spice extractives. Spice extractives. What do you extract from a spice? That just means more chemicals. Extractives of paprika. I have no clue. I would have to really dig into that. Like I said, I'm not a chemist. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one of those on TV, and I don't play either of those on YouTube either. I'm just showing you my research. And at the bottom, it says contains soy and wheat. There you go, guys. That is just a breakdown of this label itself. Okay, and we're already past 20 minutes. I will continue on in another video to show you how you are being poisoned to death and you are taking drugs to cover up the poisons, which are poisoning you even more. Do you see the vicious cycle? It's not a healthcare industry, my friends. It is a sick care industry. Doctors are not out to cure you. If they did, they would have no more customers. They need the beds filled in the hospital, and in order to fill the beds in the hospital, they need to make you sick. The way they make you sick is by poisoning the food, so you have to take the drugs. Why do you think it's called? Get this, the Food and Drug Administration. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode today. I hope it was informative. I hope you've become a little bit enlightened today. Like I said, I am not a doctor, I am not a chemist, and I don't play either of those on TV or YouTube. I'm just a basic guy who does his research and pays attention. Although I have been researching this stuff for over 40 years. Okay? Back in the day, I was called a conspiracy theorist for saying this stuff. Now, everybody's starting to see it. Okay, so thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you go down there, hit the like, the subscribe, the share. Share this out to everybody. Let everybody know. If you want to keep your family and friends safe, share this so they can see it. Okay? Let's get some subscriptions in here on this YouTube channel, because the more people that come in here, the more people get to see this. The more likes, the algorithm will react to that, and there'll be more people that this can get shared to. Let's get people out there to understand what's happening. If you think I'm lying, you listen to JFK Jr. Okay? He's saying the same stuff that I have been saying for over 40 years. Now he's coming out and saying it, and now people believe it because they hear him say it. But when I said the exact same thing 20, 30 years ago, I was just a conspiracy theorist. So, let me tell you, I have a little bit of education on this stuff. So anyway, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get the next video that comes out. Okay, I have not been putting out very many videos because I don't have very many subscribers and a lot of people don't seem very interested. Okay, well, so be it. Let's get this video out there. Let's get people in here. Let's educate the public on what's going on. So until the next time, guys, I want you to eat healthy, be healthy, okay? Do not listen to the government. If they tell you do not eat it, stay away from it, then eat it as much as you can. If they tell you this drug's good for you, that drug's good for you, stay away from it. No drugs are good for you. The only time drugs are good is in the case of an emergency when it needs to save your life. On a regular basis, daily? No. There are natural remedies out there for every disease there is. Prime example, raise your body's pH level. Take it from acidic to alkaline. There is not one disease known to man in this universe, okay, that can survive in an alkaline environment. Cancer, HIV, the common cold, they all die in an alkaline environment. Why do you think these chemicals are added to these foods? They're added to this stuff so that your body becomes acidic, so disease can thrive within your body. Because once disease thrives, where do you go? You go to your local legal drug dealer, commonly called what they call it a doctor. And what's a doctor going to do? By the time you leave that office, he's going to spend 30 seconds with you and hand you a little white slip. And you go to a pharmacy, pharmakia, sorcery. You go to a pharmacy and you get a drug that's going to cause your body to do something unnatural, but will cover those symptoms so you think, I'm cured, this is great. Well, while a new disease is brewing in your body because you're taking that drug. And then you have more problems, different problems. And you go, where? Right back to that same legal local drug dealer is going to give you more drugs. That's what drug dealers do. They keep supplying you to get you hooked. Once you're hooked, they got a steady income. What's the difference between a drug dealer and a doctor? Huh? You tell me what the difference between a drug dealer and a doctor is. A drug dealer is nothing more than an unlicensed doctor. That's all. An unlicensed pharmacist. That's all. So, guys, I hope this was informative. I hope this enlightened you. I hope you really, really took heed to this. So until the next time, y'all, I'll see you again in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Be good. Eat healthy. Read the ingredients. We're out of here.